Hi, this is Majinoni. Here's some comic reviews for you. We have Uncanny Avengers 7, Uncanny XMen 5, Ultimate Spider-Man number 22, Avengers 5, Avengers 10, and Guardians number 2. Now let's just start with Uncanny. Now, overall, Remender's doing a decent job. I have had my ups and downs with the Uncanny series, but I think if you look at the whole, the body of work has been really good. In this issue here, what we have is the Apocalypse twins. This is Warren when he was the Apocalypse. Um, these are his kids, and what they decide to do is destroy or assassinate the Celestial, which will cause havoc, for Earth. And they know that and don't care. Rogue is basically um, exonerated for the murder of the Grim Reaper. They understand that things happen, but they want her sidelined, and Rogue is like, F this and blah blah blah. And Havoc isn't doing a good job with the Rogue's relationship, which is really surprising me, because he's barely holding this team together, which is in a way understandable because he's not that great of a leader in comparison to like, for an example, the Wasp or Captain America or his brother Scott. An interesting thing that popped up, though, was how the Wasp is making a line of X clothing and was making the moves on Havoc until they got the warning that there's trouble in space because the Celestial ship was coming. Now, overall, I mean, it was a decent issue. I can see where things are gonna, because their storyline is splitting a little bit, and they're also bringing in some extra stuff. They're bringing in the Thor storyline where he fought Apocalypse in this issue here, and things I think overall are coming together. The art, I think you're going to find, is going to be hit and miss. I think there's some decent pages, but then I also think that there's certain pictures, like the Wanda here looks like super old and she doesn't look right, and I think things like that might throw things off. But I think overall, this is definitely a solid read, and I like how they're crossing over the X-Men villains with the Avengers, because I think potentially this could be a really nice mix. So overall, I really enjoy it. Art good, story good. I cannot wait till the next issue, and I want to see how long it takes Wasp to get into bed with yet another team leader. Uncanny X-Men. Basically, this is dealing with magic and how her powers are running amok, and she gets basically taken down to Limbo. There's Dormammu who's like, "Oh, you don't know what you're causing. The damages. I'm gonna kill you now." And she's like, "I turn into my Dark Child, and then I wreaked havoc on him." And well, that didn't sit very well. And then all the X-Men are teleported back into Limbo for round 2. I think the artwork really works well with the theme of the storyline with Limbo and the demons and things like that. Magic looks incredibly evil in her Dark Child persona, and I think any chance that any of these impressionable young mutants have with going out with her are going to be completely erased with that image. And then, of course, you got the triplets who are going to cause them, the Cuckoos, who are going to cause utmost grief for some of the guys, and as one of them learned, to keep his thoughts to himself. Overall, Irving, like I said, did a great job. Bendis did a great job also, and I'm definitely surprised at how well this book is doing so far. Okay, Ultimate Spider-Man number 22. Fantastic. This is what we call a potential candidate for Book of the Week. You have Venom rampaging through a hospital looking for Spider-Man because he thinks that the father, who is in the hospital, is Spider-Man, and little does he know Miles is. The artwork is fantastic. The story is when you get to the battle between Venom and Miles, it was great. The outcome of the battle, it just proves the point. If you wear a Spider-Man costume, tragedy is going to happen. It's going to hit you hard, And the main difference in this case is, well, Peter Parker said, with great power comes great responsibility. Miles said, "F this," and he ripped up his costume and he's quitting. Which, we know that part's not going to last. But I think with the way they redid the Venom, if this Venom is amazing, it doesn't. I mean, it is the Venom, but yet it isn't at the same time. It looks more like a rampaging beast, and when you have this huge creature with the tentacles and the teeth, the tongue, and then you have Miles as a young kid, it's a great contrast. It's definitely a David versus Goliath scenario, and this Bendis hit a home run with this. Whatever he failed in the past, he has redeemed himself 100-fold, I think, in the relaunch of Miles. And I'm probably one of the few people who would probably have thought that Miles wasn't going to be necessarily a good thing. I mean, let me word that again. Most people probably thought Miles was a bad idea because Peter Parker was finally coming into his own. And I was one of those people, but Miles with Miles under Bendis has taken this on a whole new level of greatness, and we're getting stories I think that normally just couldn't be told. Like, you could not tell the story with the Venom War. It just wouldn't work. And I think it's good that they got rid of all the baggage of Peter Parker, that all the mistakes that they made, and all of it's gone, and we're starting fresh. And this is definitely a good, very good read. I'm not going to go into too much with this, but basically the Illuminati are learning more about Black Swan and where she came from and what the situation is where they're in. The art is, I know I sound like a broken record, but the art as a whole for Marvel has really been solid for all of their key books. Occasionally you might see a hiccup every now and then, but if you look at it as a whole, it's not like your average ordinary comic where, the look and feel, and I think that works for some of these titles. Overall, I think, there's little bits of humor here and there, especially with the interaction between Black Swan and Doctor Strange. She basically put him in this place, but overall, I'm really enjoying it, and I just want to know what's going to happen, because they keep alluding to something like a decision that's going to be made, and I really want to know. And the next issue, I mean, this isn't necessarily a spoiler because it's all in the solicitations and whatnot, but they're going to see Doctor Doom next. Overall, very enjoyable. Okay, Avengers number 10. If you look at the body again, Hickman's doing a great job, but this issue wasn't, I don't think, as strong as some of the others, but they're planting something. This isn't necessarily an issue where they're meaning to give you the wham bam, look at this. This is more of we're planting seeds, and we're going to take you on the journey. So I'm very willing to continue on with this journey because I'm really enjoying this book. Now, what we have is, if you remember in the past issues there, they had those pods, the seedling things that came down, and then they popped up everywhere, and then there's a few of them that were left that weren't destroyed or couldn't be weren't covered by the Avengers or S.H.I.E.L.D. And one of them was in Canada. Well, they're investigating what happens to one of them. Now, the sad thing is what happens to Alpha Flight, because they're grounded really quick. And I'm like, they just get no love whatsoever. I'll word it that way. This was a really, really nice picture drawing of Wendigo, and that is a horrible picture of Box, the robot. This looks like a reject Gundam, and it's horrible. It's a horrible design. But other than that, I'm trying not to spoil too much, but there's something that's going on within these different sites, and they did have a thing about this evolution of how some of these characters changed, and I thought some of the changes were interesting, but like when you look at like Wolverine, he never really changed, and Captain America never changed. I thought that was like an interesting way of looking at their life, in that like, for example, Wolverine's got the healing, so in the sense it's always going to stay the same. Captain America has the super serum, but like somebody like Falcon, he changed. He doesn't have the luxury of those two abilities, and his evolution went in a different path. Same with the Hulk. His went a little different, and his evolution actually corresponded to other stories in the Marvel Universe with the Hulk in the future. But overall, I thought this was it's a good read, but this is not your jumping on read because there's so much stuff that's going on before this, you're just going to be lost. Art, I think, was good, solid, and I like how Hickman's moving the story along, and he's giving us pieces along the way, and he's not. It's kind of like he's taking his time, but at the same time, he's moving it along, which I appreciate. And next up is Guardians of the Galaxy #2. Overall, it's a good read, and it's a fun read, but I think the one thing that really makes this book fun is Rocket Raccoon. His dialogue is amazingly, awesome, and I really hope that they capture his mannerisms, the way he talks in the movies, because if they do, the movie is going to be amazing. And all this is really doing is, in the background, they're setting up the stage about why these other races are saying that the Earth is off limits, and they send the Badoon in there on purpose, so this way it brings in the Guardians. This way they get one of their goals, and they can arrest Star-Lord and the Guardians. But that's besides the point. Overall, this was just an entertaining read, and I guess this is what you can say is a difference between Marvel and DC. You take DC Comics, who has the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm sorry, not the Guardians, but the Green Lantern and Legion of Superheroes, and for whatever reason, DC can't do anything with the Legion. It's like a no-win situation because there's too many characters, and the minute you start limiting characters, people get pissed. And with the Green Lantern, it's just what color are you looking at today? Are you looking at red? Are you looking at green? Are you looking at orange? And they can't tell a story. It's more, okay, what epic event can we go to next? And then it's just epic event, and they've lost, I think, the element of storytelling. Because it's just sales-driven. They're trying to drive sales. But here's a book, Guardians of the Galaxy. These are established characters. Granted, they're not established by by all Marvel readers because these were basically space heroes, and not everybody read space. But still, they're introducing them in a creative way. And it's making it interesting. It's making it fun, and they're not doing a big event. Now, granted, this is laying the foundation to the big event that's about to come. And then when I do my previews review this time, which I really will do it for sure, because I promise not to throw away my Marvel book. But overall, I mean, this is planting the seeds, and this is done properly. And I just wish DC could do half as good as Marvel does with their space stuff, because it's just a shame. It's just, putting on a different color doesn't make it a space epic. It just makes it a copy, and they haven't figured that part out yet. Since we're here, on the topic of DC, I got this here that I read. So let's do this. The last issue of Red Hood and the Outlaws was really good, because that was the reunion of Bruce and Jason Todd. This was utter horse manure crap, and this made me not want to buy it any longer. They basically disregarded all of that great storytelling that was in the last issue, and basically Jason Todd goes off to meet that monk that helped form him, train him and whatnot, and that other dimensional thing, and he wants to forget all the bad stuff that happened, which is basically going to mean he's going to forget everybody. And, his friends come, chasing after him. And they're like, what are you doing? Jason, Todd, what are you doing? And he's just like, I don't want to know anybody any longer. I'm emotionally damaged. And I'm just like, you are just such a whiny bitch. And it's like, no wonder you're not a top tier book, because, you know, you're just a whiny bitch who just can't deal with the hard stuff. You know, imagine Wolverine crying because he had a hard life. You know, please, who would buy Wolverine? Nobody's going to respect a whiny superhero who tries to act tough with guns and try to be the villain. It just doesn't work. Horrible. Horrible read. Missed opportunities. And it's a shame that DC decided to go this route, because it's just bad. I don't really want to talk about this one because this was bait and switch based on the cover. I already did that one. I know I had another DC book, but oh, I remember now. I wanted to do Daredevil. This was actually a kick-ass book. I mean, let's look at comparisons here. This is garbage, and this was really well done. Somebody is off. I was on a mad tear to just destroy Daredevil, and they did the toxic radioactive stuff, and they finally found a situation where they found a person, the scenario to make it work, and this guy, he's a number one badass, and he's even mimicking Daredevil's colors for his old costume. Fantastic. Wade, I'm so happy I stayed, because this is good. The art, I mean, granted, the art's very stylized, and I think you're going to find it, some people are not going to like it as much. I like some of the stuff that's going on, but at the same time, I wish it was a little better. But I understand that at least this is setting it apart from other stories or other types of books, so I can be appreciative to that. The fight between these two, awesome. Awesome. Daredevil is going to have a fight on his hands, and great job. And I think that's it. I've talked a lot. I don't want to talk anymore. Yeah, I think that's it. So anyways, if you have any comments or questions, let me know. Rate the video up or down. Let me know what you think. Like the Facebook link. Crunchyroll anime reviews. New anime season just started. It's amazing. There's an anime about a boy who likes... a young boy who has a fetish for hair, and he touches hair, and he caresses the hair, and it's really creepy, but he's got scissors. He cuts his girl's hair, a curse is unleashed, and all these other people with cursed items are going after the girl to kill her, and he's like, I love your hair. If I could cut your hair every day, I will defend you from the evil of these cursed items. And she's caressing the knife, the scissors, going, oh, I understand that this is a horrible piece of metal that has killed over 200 people, but it cut my hair, and it's a glorious thing, and I don't think it's evil. So yes, come every morning to my house and cut my hair. I'm telling you, severed crime edge. Why? How could you miss that? Could you imagine if Marvel or DC were to do a story like that? How bad that would be? But this works. Anyways, I talked a lot. And until next time.